Hello, my little flower patch, and welcome to Florida. So yeah, I went to Florida for Christmas. I thought I'd share some of what I did with you guys. So let's jump right into these alligator-infested waters. After a long flight out, we started to play space. I can't speak. After a long flight out, we start. Also, guys, this is very much scripted, so I'm trying my best here. But I also apparently can't read today. It's tiring. Okay, guys. I just had such a long day at school. So after a long flight out, we went to this place called the Kennedy Space Center. And we wanted to take a tour bus that goes around all these different buildings. And then do everything else that's close to the parking lot later. But near the end of the day, so we didn't have to walk as far. And then at that time, I didn't actually think I was going to make a video about Florida at that time, so I took this picture at the start of the bus ride and then forgot I owned a camera. So this is literally the only picture. There was a lot of cool things. I'm sorry, oh no, I guess you'll have to go for yourself. How terrible. It's sarcasm. You should go, it's cool. And then we're moving back to their main buildings, so it was getting hot because Florida, so we got space dots. We got space dots, guys. Look at the space dots. And then I forgot that cameras existed again, so we skipped to that night where we were in a building and I found out that a rocket likes Minecraft because it's the redstone. It's the redstone rocket. Guys, I think I do too much Minecraft. Also, hello to my finger down in the corner. Then we headed outside again to see a fancy drone show they had for Christmas. And then there's this cool rocket made of shiny drones for the holidays in space. Terrible camera quality. Anyways, now I feel like this is the part of the video. I feel like this is the way I made this. The way I made this part of the video where I insert weird sentences in between videos. But now that part is done. For now. At least I remembered cameras exist at this point, though I almost forgot to add the Kennedy Space Center into this video, and I also keep misspelling it as I keep misspelling Kennedy as Kennidy rather than Kenndy, so I instead of an E. It's weird. And now here's, if I make it there, here's another video.
The drone going like 850 miles an hour.
And I hope I doesn't get copyright striked for that song bit. Anyways, this kind of wraps up the first stop of the trip. Before we move to our next stop, though, I want to let you know I did not include everything in this trip, because I cut out some pictures of my family, because this was very much a trip to see family, and they aren't, showing their face or anything on YouTube or socials, so privacy. Anyways, if I can remember my slides right, on to... If you can't tell by the name, this place has a lot of gators. Here we see them basking to come to the water with a friendly smile. don't go to the water's edge, though. They aren't smiling, they're basking. It was really cool to see so many gators, and they even had some really funny, like some really cool ones. These aren't just so many pictures that are, I can't pronounce this very well, so forgive me. Leucistic. This means they have like partial pigment loss, unlike an albino with total pigment loss. They even had these cute little babies. Alligators are not. The alligators weren't the only animal that calls Gatorland home, and there's a petting zoo of goats, sheep, and a derpy cow. This was the only quality picture I could get of any of the snakes they had, so enjoy this Angie cottonmouth. There were also birds who may have bitten as hard as gators themselves. I wouldn't know. I wasn't dumb enough to try to pet them. Though, some of the birds were wild and just wanted to steal food from unsuspecting visitors, but some were captive and rescued by their keepers, like this kookaburra. There was a cool gator skeleton. Funny but true signs. And I keep losing my place in the script, guys, help. And also just slightly going off, because you know what? I'm half not reading from the script, because my brain doesn't allow me to read today, for no real reason. And there's some rescued foxes they had. And this is not a fox. I think it's a bobcat. I can't remember, I didn't take a picture of the sign next to it. But it's probably a bobcat. Feel free to yell at me in the comments if I'm incorrect. There were also these historical markers, with two things happening on the same day. Historical marker. On this exact spot, on the afternoon of April 27th, 1968, a marital argument was won by the husband. And then second sign. Murder site. On this exact spot, on the afternoon of April 27th, 1968, a husband paid dearly for his short-lived victory. Disclaimer. If you don't get these signs, you've obviously never been married. Did you guys like my voice? Anyways.
Capybara, 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 capybara.
As the video shown just explained, Gatorland has capybaras, which I was very excited about, and my brother Ryan was sad about because he wasn't in Florida till the next day. The capybaras are interesting. These guys are like the largest rodent, they are very much the largest rodents in the world, and they go up to my knees, and I'm like 5 whole feet tall, so I'm definitely and totally the apex of height. And the fur feels like, it's like coarse, like pig hair. If you've ever felt that, or if you've pet a capybara, now you know how pig hair feels like. I think pigs are a little bit more able to be pet. When we entered the capybara pen, the handlers explains the rules and handed us each a cucumber spear to break into pieces for our new furry friends. I'm cycling up and down. These guys were super chill. It was absolutely insane.
Capybara, 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 capybara.
Guys, I really like capybaras, if you can't tell. After capybaras and some food, we exited through the gift shop, looking at such funny merch. Sorry, you don't get to see that yet. Pretend you never saw that. Off script. From there we drove to the Airbnb we were staying at, so I wanted to give you a tour of awkward silence. Also, guys, I have not memorized the amount of slides I have in each section, so I'm just going and hoping that I don't accidentally hit a video too early.
Hello everyone, I want to show you guys my room at the Airbnb we're staying in Tampa, Florida. As you can see from this it's an alright picture in real life, but it looks terrible on the screen. So we've got a bed, and we've got my desk with the place we went to for dinner last night, and then Gatorland reusable cup, and this thing. It might be called just Kids Joy. I don't know. Apparently it's on TikTok. And we've got this walk-in closet, and then we've got the fact that I have to be really careful because there's a mirror like right there, and doxing. And then we head into this bit. So it's like here's this part of the room, and then we go over here, and there's some glass doors that don't close or lock, but they have doorknobs that don't work on them because, yay, privacy, the privacy of unclosing glass doors. I mean, you can move them, but and then we've got my voice dying apparently. We've got my bed and the clothes that I'm procrastinating putting away and stuff. So yeah, on with the video.
Thank you, Past Lexi. I'm sorry for my coughing in the middle of it. Apparently my voice still likes to die. And then here's the intermission. See, I said intermission too early, so. Anyways, this is where I put some random things that had nowhere else to go. So, guys, I made a pancake that has a patch shaped like a pancake. And then we went to this restaurant one night for dinner. It's the one you could see the cup in the previous video. And this was on all the napkin boxes. Moving on to... This was really fun, but there were way too many people. But the cool Lego builds made up for that. This was like an actual store, but I didn't take pictures of too many things for purchase. Some of the pictures were like so annoying because there were so many other people who wanted to take pictures as well, or were just walking in front of whatever thing I was currently taking a picture of. Forgot I took this many pictures, guys. This is another problem where I've finished all of the things I'm supposed to say for this section. But there's more. Okay, I think that's the last one. It'd be so random if one of my viewers, if one of you guys were just over here and being like, hey, that's me! That's me right there! I was that employee! Or something, I don't know. Anyways, then there was this M&M store, as you can see from the title of this section. Still way too many people, just more edible merchandise. Mostly edible, at least. There was like this huge wall. And all of these were M&Ms, like tubes of M&M, and a lot of colors that weren't like really released. I haven't ever seen them, at least in stores. And then they also had these constellations of the characters with like all these main colors. I only got a picture of orange because there were so many people, and also I still didn't. I guess I was at this point I was like thinking about maybe making a vlog video sort of thing. I don't know if this is can be considered a vlog because it's mostly pictures, but this is funny. All drama, aka Orange, has an unworldly fear of being eaten by sea monsters and people in general. It's great. And then, yeah, constellation. You can see the screen. If you're not actually actively watching the video, look at the screen! Anyways, and then they had some M&M champagne bottles with no adult juice, just M&Ms. This was at Disney Springs, by the way. And then, on the Victory, which is this, the American Victory, which is a ship. There were some cool models of other, yep, here, you see that? There's some cool models of other ships, and a really cool plaque. Yay. There were also a bunch of, like, flags on the top deck, and some good old propaganda posters that, yep, propaganda. And there was all this complicated rigging. This is why I shouldn't be in charge of a ship, guys. I don't know what half of this does. And there was like the huge chains. That's my brother's hand for size, not Ryan, another brother who would like to remain anonymous. He was holding the some merch from the Gatorland thing earlier. And there's this lifeboat with emergency drinking water, which I just find hilarious. It's like 10.5 ounces of water, except it was empty, because, yeah. And this was like a warship from World War II or something, I don't know, whenever those propaganda posters were out. And then my dad and my brothers had a whole bunch of fun with these guns, and I am struggling to find ways to narrate this, so time to become a documentary narrator. And here we see a very confused Ryan, as I have just made him hold the steering wheel for this picture. He also lost that water bottle he's holding on the ship. And now we're back in Utah, so he doesn't get to find it ever again. Now, here is a bunk of sailors a bunk that the sailors would have slept in. And somewhere you send messages, but I can't actually remember the name of. Okay, I can't do that voice anymore. And we're almost done. There's like this compass. That's a door. There's this compass. And I think this is a speedometer or something. We did it. Time for a staple of the holiday season. My grandmother gave me a gingerbread house, and I made it. Man, it looks so unbelievably terrible. We're almost at the end. Time for need to break down in coughing. The last day of the trip started, well, with some good old-fashioned delays on our plane. So, oh boy. And some fancy-looking soaps that were in the gift shop of this place, because the establishment called Butterfly Tampa decided to shake things up, with the gift shop being first instead of last. And then there's this absolutely adorable garter snake, and some cool scorpions under black lights. The Florida bark scorpion doesn't actually glow, at least it shows him. And man, that hence striped scorpion is very blurry, but you can see him because he's bright blue. And then here's a bunch of fun reptiles, and there's a frog in the top left corner that is camouflaged to look like the leaf it's on. Some of the reptiles in these pictures aren't native, but some are. I couldn't be bothered to actually remember which were which. And after the inside part, there were a bunch of butterfly chrysalis and this cute butterfly garden. I saw this sign, and I knew a joke had to be made. Well, if the oak is live, are all other oaks dead? But also I thought of saying it as if it was a Twitch streamer. Like it's a live oak, it's streaming its life. 24/7 streams, you know? And then here were some of the last, or not some, the last pictures of Florida from this trip. Of some flowers and some butterflies. Now it's finally time to talk about the last thing I did. It was a fun trip, but I was so tired. after the end of it, just because Florida and doing things. So me and the rest of my family packed up. We went to the airport and flew to Atlanta, Georgia for a layover. And here's something from that. Sound recording, I guess. Yes, that was me speaking. And yes, that was the plane being a butthead and not allowing me to say things normally. And also, probably hurting anyone's ears if they have bad ears, I guess. I don't know. Misophonia? I think it's called. Forgive me if I mispronounced that. Might also not help. Anyways. Then we took a second plane back to Utah, where we live. And you can see things like, yeah, anyways. And then at this point it was midnight, mountain time, so Utah time, but we're used to Florida time, 2 hours later, aka 2 a.m. This was, and then we took a, second, we went on the bus and to a parking lot where we got a car and drove home. Well, this was a crazy trip. Again, I did leave a lot more personal stuff out, like the entirety of Christmas Day, because we were hanging out with our family, with my grandma and aunt and her dog. And then I really hope you enjoyed watching this. It was a bit of a different type of video, but I really enjoyed making it. And I guess have a good rest of your day. This had so many slides. Okay, bye!